So hat mich ein junger Mann gefragt, junger Mann asked me, have I got a Pesach kitchen? I said, I don't need a Pesach kitchen. Meine Ovis haben nicht gehabt kein Pesach kitchen. Meine Eltern haben nicht gehabt kein Pesach kitchen. None of them had a Pesach kitchen. And Baruch Hashem, we grow up, Ehrlich Yidden who want to be Shomrei Torah and Mitzvahs. Halavai, my Einiglich will grow up to Yingel, and Einiglich will grow up to children who want to be Shomrei Torah and Mitzvahs like we are. Who knows what Fador we're heading for? And they didn't have a Pesach kitchen. The Yingelat and everyone else has got the wrong idea of Pesach. And they don't learn the lesson which has got to be learned. What is Pesach about? Pesach is about restraint. Somebody asked me, what do you eat on Pesach? I says matzahs, potatoes, eggs, and what else do you eat? Coffee, and I have a bit of flesh, and a bit of fish, and that's what the Pesach. So you don't have, aren't you hungry? I says, Pesach is made not to be able to eat everything. Like Yom Kippur is made not to be able to eat at all. Pesach is made that you have a restraint on what you eat. You can't eat everything. You can't have everything. This is the thing. You go into shops today and you find everything kosher Pesach. It's a really bad thing for the Rabbanim. Why do they do this? Why do they make so many products available for Pesach? Even if you can, why should we have so much available? People don't learn the education of restraint, restraining themselves in their behavior. And this is what we have to learn. We're here for a purpose. It's so many people don't understand why they're here. They think they came from them side and that side. What's really this world about? Do you know, I once heard Rav Shulon Shvadron told a story about, I have to tell you the whole story because it's such an interesting story. He told it noch in the name of the Chofetz Chaim. There was a Yid, a Talmud Chochem, who lived in a town, and he was a Kreiselig Yid. But he had one chasson. Every time he met a friend, he used to go and give him a patch. Hello Moshe, hello your uncle, how are you? Give him a patch with his hand, bang him on the plate. And that was his chasson, but otherwise he kept every mitzvah and everything perfect. No, he came, he died, he came on Jene Welt. And just imagine, the Chofetz Chaim's telling the story. He came on Jene Welt, and they pasken him Gan Eden. But suddenly, the black Chabule, Malacha Chabule come on, and they say, if you lift your hand up against your Chava, even if you don't hit him, you're Charusha, and it's an Avaira. And as he's been so perfect, he had nothing else, this is considered an Avaira. And the paskin him, Rav Shulon Shvadron, he told his story. I'm not going to tell it as long as he told this. He told this story for half an hour, maybe more, and the lights went out already, and it was going on and on. And they paskin him, they said, what should we do? He says, you got two eitzes, the Bezdin Shalmala says. Either you can be born again, and you go through a test again, or you have another eitze. The eitze is, you go to Gehenim, but we'll tell you how long. You have to go for a year, or for 6 months. A year, I think it was. And he goes, I said, no, I'm not going to be born again. That's the worst in the soil. I might become a cancer. Who knows? I might do everything wrong. Better to go to Gehenim for a bit and finished. So he's going to Gehenim. Rav Shulon Shvadron says how he's going to Gehenim. They take him, and he's going to he goes to his house, and he's already in Africa, and he's just with his little trousers, with his little pants on, and he goes nearer to the equator. Can ich aushalten bei der Hitze, ist gefährlich. And he asked the Malachim to take him back, and the Malachim take him back. But they say, no, you can't, because you're not allowed to be taken back. We've passed, but as you've been in Chois Elachid, they take you back. And they take him back, and he comes for Bezdin Shemala again, and Bezdin Shemala say, you have to be born again. Okay, be born again. So he says to Bezdin Shemala, I want to ask you one taiva, please. I want to be born without a hand. That I shouldn't be able to over this Isra again. Otherwise I'll do the same thing again. I'll hit people, and I don't want to hit. I don't want to hit a person. I'll hit people. No, the Bezdin Shemala said, you can't do this. If you're born without a hand, you will not have the test, and you will not have the Nisoyan. So if you won't have the Nisoyan, how will you know whether you held yourself back? But anyway, as he was a Chois Elachid, they let him be born without a hand. And just imagine the man where Shulon Shvadron sings, he takes that baby in his hand, es fehlt ein Tele, hey. I remember Shulon Shvadron still singing it, and the lights just went out. It was already about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and the lights went out, and he's in the dark just with the two lights in the Chamoisha on the side of him, the beam lights, and he's saying, es fehlt ein Tele. Anyway, they think he'll go when he gets bigger, it'll sivax and his eyes, we'll worry about the problem when he gets bigger. They didn't do like Ricky Rumpler. As soon as she saw she was born with a child, which was the Down syndrome, she made a school, established a school, and brought the child to Hechem Adreige straight away. We are living with the Moirdige times. I don't want to intervene in the story, but we're living with such people like Ricky Rumpler. We're living in Moirdige times. Brought a child who was really a retarded child, who Chazon Ish would have got up for, and made him better in this world. He's still making brochas, which the Rabbi Shalom, we could say, didn't think of when he had them, because he was only here. He's only here on this world to do a few mitzvahs, and then to go, because he's part of all the mitzvahs. He's got a and a shumma the Chazon Ish. Anyway, this child is born without a handler. She takes the mother, sie wachsen. She gets a bar mitzvah, she gewachsen. Suddenly, he chapel him, he comes home, he's upset, and he gets to a shidduch, and he can't find the shidduch. He's 23, 24, and he can't find the shidduch. One day he comes into the Bismillah, and he opens the Pareiches, and he cries to Rabbi Shalom, "Favos bin ich geboren, war nur ein Entele. Why was I born without an Entele?" And Rabbi Shalom Schwadron says, "Sheitele, sheitele, narale, narale. Hast du allein gebeten for dem? You asked for this yourself. You asked for it." We don't know what. We are not able to go back to before we were born, and we're not able to go after to when we die, to what is the real purpose of this life and what it's all about. We can only go on Ma'amorei Chazal, which have given us certain insights to what the purpose of life is, what the purpose of living on this world, what it's all about. It can't be just about having a few houses more and a few houses less, having a bit more money, a bit less money. It can't just that not be. There must be a higher purpose of life. The reason life is here must be something which hasn't got, I feel the emunah inside me. I don't have to know from the Torah the emunah. My body shouts, "Vayamini b'Hashem Moshe Avdoi." That you got to believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom. My body, when it comes to Shvuas and Matan Torah, my body is aching to be Mekabel the Torah. It's not a job for me not to talk. It's a pleasure not to talk. It's a pleasure to be oisig and ticking like Shvias the whole night, not talk a word, and then toivel sich in the end of the night, toivel sich 4 times in the mikveh like the ticking like Shvias brings. It's a weird feeling of nearness to God, nearness to Hashem Yelekim, nearness to the Davai. That's what we should feel. Something is wrong in us that we don't feel this. We are not baking and cooking. We are not, something is blocking us. Some Tavas Olam Hazeh, I don't know what, but something is blocking us from feeling this Yiddishkeit, this Emunah B'Hashem.